Welcome to the studio, Judy.
Thank you so much, Susan. It's so delightful to be here and love your bright, sunny, blissful yellow color.
So, first, I want to just say you are a life coach, a broadcaster, a singer, an author. How do you do all that you do? And are there advantages and disadvantages in having so many things going on? Because you really do.
Thank you.
Do a lot of things.
Thank you. So I know my website might say singer, and I'm going to say I'm not going to take that role because that's my daughter, who is a professional
I've
singer.
Heard her.
But for me, I think it fuels me, and I think like you, Susan, when you're doing something that you're passionate about, that you're excited about, it fuels you, so it never feels like work. Do the thing you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And that's what it really is for me. So, but there's that moment where you want to do something, but you don't because you're almost too much of a perfectionist about it. You think it'll never be as fabulous as you imagine it to be, so you put it off. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. I'd had this idea about starting an Instagram page called The Bliss Minute, just with a daily dose of happiness and positivity, that in the morning people could wake up and have their coffee or tea and see just sort of a happy quote or something great. But I kept putting it off. And my husband and I were robbed when we went away on a Christmas vacation, a winter vacation with our family. Some of the most sentimental things were taken, and I was afraid to stay in my house while they were alarming our system, which now is like Fort Knox.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do. My husband said, listen, I have to work. Why don't you just come to my office every night and be with me? Well, it'll be nice. We can have dinner together. You do your thing. I'll work. We'll work together. And I thought, I could sit and watch Netflix, or I could scroll on my phone, two very fun things to do, or I could get started on this. And I started writing these Bliss Minutes. And all of a sudden, I couldn't stop. I was writing reams and reams of them, and then I was videotaping
but just
them.
Describe what is a Bliss Minute.
So a Bliss Minute is usually under a minute, and it's just a little video of happiness and positivity where I talk about, give me any word that has to do with happiness or bliss or anything that's on your mind.
Joy, love.
Joy. So joy is the most wonderful thing. Here's a minute. You can choose happiness. Joy is something that you can choose. Many people don't realize that. You can make a choice to live a happier life, and there's a lot of pathways to do that. One is through gratitude. I'm so grateful to be here today. And by at the end of the day saying 5 things that you're grateful for, even though it sounds like something you've heard before, it really works. Another way to be joyful, I think, is through mindfulness and meditation. And I think another way to be joyful is just to put love in your heart, just to sort of be loving, because love sort of conquers everything, right? And when you can just sort of, and also just to brush off the stuff that just doesn't matter, like don't sweat the small stuff. So that would be a Bliss Minute. Maybe not as good as an actual one.
And living in the moment, right? I think to me, living in the moment.
Absolutely.
You can't go too crazy in the past or the future. You're right there.
You're right there,
Enjoy
right
it.
now, enjoying this moment right now. Like there's nothing more perfect than this moment. And that is, that's an example of a Bliss Minute. But a Bliss Minute could be a sneak peek from our show, Finding Your Bliss on Zoomer Radio. It could be a cute little joy is what happens when we recognize how great things really are. A little quote. And so I started to write these quotes and make these videos, and something fascinating happened. Somebody noticed. So when you're in your sphere, people notice, right? And it starts to take on a life of its own. And a producer came to me and said, I know of an opening at Zoomer Radio for a new show. You've got to get to them really quickly. You have about a day, because they're going to give up the spot.
So this is where the Jewish term beshert comes in.
Absolutely. But beshert intermingled with hard work.
Yes.
Right? And passion.
But that's your circle, right? This was your moment, right? So
Absolutely.
What did you do? You jumped on it.
I started to write. And what's so cool is, had I not been in the sphere of doing what I'm supposed to be doing, writing these Bliss Minutes, it might have taken a long time to get the engine started. But I was so in it already that it practically wrote itself. And I wrote 15 pages. I can share it with you. And I sent this beautiful 15-page thing to Zoomer, and they couldn't read my PDF, because at the time I was very not tech savvy.
Right.
Now I am very tech savvy. And they said, Judy, we couldn't read your PDF. It was in another language or something. But come down and do it in person, and let's see what happens. So I went down, did the whole thing in person. They said, that was the most exuberant presentation we've ever heard. We're going to discuss it with the higher ups, which I'm sure meant Moses Neimer and company. And 3 days later, I had a show. And I sort of felt like the mother whose son gets into Harvard and goes, You got into Harvard, now what? Now you got to do it.
Yeah.
And do what I did.
Nobody is always blissful. Things happen in life. There are challenges.
Absolutely.
You know, what happens when you, as a life coach, as a blissful person, an advocate for that, you know, sphere, what happens? Do you turn to your, you know, platform and, you know, go on the principles of your bliss, or how do you get through it?
I get quiet. I have to say that's, I think, a really good trick is when it's just too much,
Right.
just to get quiet. As my friend Mary would say, close the windows and doors and just get quiet and meditate. I think that meditating is one of the most powerful things a person can do for themselves, and a lot of people don't do it because they think it's a big beluga. But you can actually make it 2 to 5 minutes a day and just start your day that way, or in a stressful moment, even at the grocery store in a lineup or in your car at a red light. Do some breathing, just some beautiful inhales in through your nose, and let it all go.
So you and I should have done that before the program. So I'll tell you something. You told me that you do this with your guests.
Yes.
All your guests. You take a minute, or I don't know how many
About
seconds.
a minute, yeah.
Right, and they love it. They enjoy it, and it just kind of sets the pace for the interview. And I think that's really important. We have a very fast-paced life, and
Yes.
everybody does. So that's a really good tip. So thank you, and thank you for being our guest here. It really was lovely to connect and chat with you. And
You as well.
Yeah,
You're doing
all the
great,
best.
by the way. Everyone, this is a great show. She's a great host.
thank you, Judy, for the
Great
plug.
to be here.